Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Elden Ring PvP and a somewhat painful weapon showcase. This time we are using the Monk's Flamemace. This weapon is dropped by the Fire Monks, and I'll be honest, it was not overly pleasant to use. Let's get started. The weapon, like I said, is dropped by the Fire Monks, and when you do get it, it will have Kick for its skill by default. It requires 13 strength and 13 dexterity to wield, and it weighs 6 units. With this weapon at plus 25 on a Keen upgrade, it will have a base damage of 264 with an E scaling in strength and an A in dexterity, and on a quality upgrade it will be 246 with a B scaling in both strength and dex. That said, as far as attack rating is concerned, there's really not that much of a difference between this weapon on Keen and this weapon on quality, so just use whichever one is best for your build. That said, let's just go ahead and get started on the pros of the weapon, because I'll be honest, there's really not too many. For starters, as far as the weapon is concerned, with its moveset, there are a couple of attacks you want to keep in mind. Those attacks are going to be your running attacks, because they'll have a bit of a sweep to them, and your backstep attacks. So, your backstep R1 when one-handed or two-handed, it is a pretty good attack because it makes up distance between you and your opponent. You chase them down a little bit, and it is decent at doing that, and you'll want to do that a lot. Make up ground, that is, because the weapon itself is short. That's, I would say, the biggest con of the weapon, how short it is. But back to the pros real quick, because there's only one more. The R2 attack, when fully charged, has the highest motion value for a hammer class weapon. Now, motion values, if you guys aren't familiar, is basically a way of calculating the damage. Motion values will take a weapon's attack rating into account, apply a multiplier to it that then gets hit with your defenses, against your opponent's defenses, I should say, and there's some calculation that comes into play, and then the damage value is what you see. Basically, motion values are as important as attack rating, and when you don't really have a good attack rating, well, that can be made up for by a high motion value. Or when you do have a high attack rating, that can be worsened by a bad motion value. So it's not something I talk about too frequently, but I'm looking for every pro that I can on this weapon, and it does have the highest motion value on its fully charged R2. So that's something to keep in mind. It makes the weapon decent, and it makes that attack deal pretty good damage if you can land it. And that's really the problem. You're going to be very hard-pressed to land that attack because the weapon is short and because it's so telegraphed. Yeah, you do the little stompy thing and it'll make some people try and roll, and you might roll catch them. That's a possibility. I've done it once. Maybe they'll see the little stomping motion and they'll try and strafe around you to get a backstab. I've done that one once as well. But overall, people will see you start to do that attack, wonder what the hell is that guy doing, and just back off. Just backpedal out of range, and that's it. You missed. And then you're open to being punished. So, realistically, not a good attack. It's super hard to hit with, but if you can make it work, then good for you. Aside from that, the moveset overall on this weapon is kind of not great. It could be faster, it could have more forward momentum. Overall, it's just kind of a mediocre moveset. And again, if the weapon were a little bit longer, maybe that wouldn't be such a big deal. Maybe you'd be able to mitigate that by having a little more reach. But you don't, so it is what it is. That said, that's really about all I've got with the weapon. Unfortunately, it also does not have any bonus to being used with Flaming Strike and being on fire, in spite of being called a Flamemace and being dropped by Fire Monks. There's no synergy there. It just kind of is what it is. You've probably seen throughout the video me getting the majority of my damage in the fights by using Flaming Strike, that is speaking to how good Flaming Strike is, not how good the weapon itself is. So bear that in mind. It's not a good weapon. That said, maybe I've missed something. If you guys think that I did miss something, please let me know. I don't like being so negative about weapons, so if I've somehow missed something that makes this weapon shine, let me know in the comments. That said, that's all I've got. This is the last fight in the video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you all for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.